Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is while you're watching this. And I've always wondered, why do motorcyclists and car drivers never think they need any more training? I passed my test in 1987, coming up for 36 years now. And would you get in a plane piloted by somebody who had taken their flying test then, on a different aircraft to the one they're piloting now? Or go to a doctor who hadn't received any further medical training in 35 years and probably still thought leeches were a valid form of treatment? So why don't we, as riders, look at getting further training? Now, if you've already turned off, that's because you think I'm going to be talking about things like the IM and the ROSPA tests. I'm not. We're going to have a look at some different training that can still benefit you on the road.
Oh no, it's the Ranty rider. Run!
We'll begin with the track day. Going on a track means there's nothing coming the other way, no lorries, no cars, just you and some other bikes. There'll also be at least 3 groups of beginners, intermediate and advanced, and there'll normally be some instructors on hand to give you some pointers as well. You can open your throttle as far as you dare and as far as is advised. You can get cornering tips in, you can see how far you can lean the bike over. If you've got the right bike, such as a CBF 500, you can even get your knee down on these. And everybody else in your group will be about the same standard. It's very safe, tracks are very well surfaced, and it's worth giving it a go. What can you take to the road? You can learn exactly how hard you can brake if it all goes wrong, or if you need to take avoiding action, be confident that your bike will let you do it. Although be aware, in the UK the roads are nowhere near as well surfaced as a track. Second up, save yourself some money and give yourself a warm sense of satisfaction. Learn how to work on your bike. I'm not talking about a full strip down like the one I'm doing here on a damaged CB 500, but even learning to change brake pads, chains and sprockets, even the oil, will save you a lot of money. You do need a few things like a set of tools, but get your confidence up, save money, work on your bike. When I was a lad, loads of people had bikes, and you could either help them out when they were doing jobs or get them to help you out when you were doing jobs. You learnt that way. These days, with less people working on their own bikes and less bikers around generally, you will find some courses, so have a look locally. It's better that than trying to work on something yourself with a Haynes manual and getting a step wrong, turning 2 pages over at once and forgetting to put things like pins back in brake pads. Get some training or get some help from a mate who rides and is good with spanners, and you're away. Going off-road in the mud. Trials and motocross. Trials, if you're a good slow rider, will make you a great slow rider. It's an off-road assault course. You do lots of fun things at trials school, and again, it sharpens your skills up. What can you take onto the road? Slow riding, and of course, braking in time to avoid running over a dog, even if it means you don't get under the limbo pole. Motocross, different set of skills. It's more about speed, having some fun doing some jumps with your mates, and of course avoiding running over a rider who was in front of you. And yes, it's me that fell off in front of one of my mates. First aid. Okay, not everybody's favourite subject of something you might have to deal with on the road. This is me laying in a heap, getting a bit of treatment, and I actually have to tell people how to do first aid. If you ever come across a bike rider who's injured, being able to remove a helmet safely is very important if they're not breathing. And also, you might come across an accident that's nothing to do with you or your mates, and you can still stop and lend a hand. Wheelie School. What's so good about Wheelie School and why would you go? Well, for a start, you can do a bit of careful riding through some chicane type stuff, and cones are there in abundance. But it teaches you how to abuse the throttle. I wouldn't do a wheelie on the road. I also wouldn't put my foot down on the road like I do in motocross, and I certainly wouldn't be trying to go under a limbo pole. There's just one thing about Wheelie School: never ever accept a pillion ride from the guy that runs it. Well, as you can see, I'm a liar. I am going to be talking about the training offered by the Institute of Advanced Motorists and the Royal Society for the Prevention of Accidents, and there are other courses available. It's on-road training, you stay within the speed limit and all other road laws, and you will be a better rider at the end of it. The exam is a couple of hours with a copper, and you won't be put in for it until you are good enough to pass. If you're thinking of doing these, you're already 90% of the way to being passed because you're thinking about your riding. Finally, there is one thing to mention about first aid courses. If you've done one but don't carry a first aid kit, it's a bit like knowing how to change a wheel if you've got a puncture but you don't have a jack. Again, I don't get sponsorship for producing these videos, but this is one of the kits that I carry, and it's available from a company called First Aid for Less in the UK. They do seem to be the cheapest option, and I would recommend carrying these. You never know when you're going to need it. Hopefully it will never be opened, but it's better to have it and not want it than want it and not have it. Anyway, safe riding on that rather depressing note about first aid kits, and hopefully see you out there on the road now we're heading into the summer. Cheers for now.